Well, welcome everyone. I'm going to just give you a little bit of a rundown. We're going to do the same thing but different this year. So yes, we'll all be going through the same process, but online. So I think that's going to be interesting. For those of you who have participated before, this is going to be just a boring minute, but for everyone else, this will just catch you up on what we do. We're going to open with 3 minutes from each of the candidates. And candidates, I'm going to give you the order now while I speak so you can prepare. Because I couldn't do the pulling out of a hat random, I've done them alphabetically. It seemed to make sense. So Adam, you're first, then Alex, then Joshua, then Mahika, and then Mia. You're going to have 3 minutes to introduce yourself, to tell your story, and whatever you want to do for that 3 minutes. And when everybody has done their 3 minutes, I have 6 questions that I'll be asking of everyone, and I've pre-done the order so that you'll be answering them in a different order each time, and then we'll have questions from the audience. And if anyone has any questions, you can write to me in the chat box or put your hand up. Okay? Everybody clear as mud? All right. You know what's really cool? What's really cool about Zoom is if you go over, Yasmin can just cut you off. All right. So first up, Adam, over to you.
Thank you, Paula. I know how you roll, so I won't go over my time. I don't want to be cut off. Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming out tonight. It's a lovely rainy Monday night if you are in Halifax. If you're not in Halifax, if you're not in the province, if you're not in the country, again, thank you. So my name is Adam Snow. I'm actually up for re-election this year. One of 2 members. You will find out who the next one is shortly. But basically, I decided to run again for a position on the board just because I loved what I had to do with the board. Coming into it 2 years ago, I was already part of another board. So taking that experience, so much from governance and things like that, I really seen an opportunity to come and jump on with St. Mary's. So, it was interesting looking back to where I was 2 years ago, kind of all these hopes and dreams that I wanted to do. Some of them have been done, others are in the works. And I mean, since there's been so much that has come from it. So a big thing for me is continuing the work that we have done. You can see my campaign later on this week. I'm a very busy individual, so bear with me on that, but you can check through any minutes from previous board meetings and things like that to see what I have done. I've been the chair of the Human Resources and Governance Committee for the last 2 years. Super excited about what has come from it and what hopefully will come later. Thank you, Paula.
Thank you, Adam. Well under time. Okay, so next up is Alex.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for making some time out of your evening to join us tonight. My name is Alex Wilson. I'm a 3rd-year political science student here at SMU. Big reason why I've decided to run again. As you know, some of you may know, sorry, I ran last year. Unfortunately, lost by 1 vote, but nonetheless, I've decided to have another crack at it. Some experience that I've had so far, I've been part of the St. Mary's Golf Club. We started a few years ago, built it up from scratch, and we've been growing successfully from there. Aside from St. Mary's, I've volunteered in numerous boards and committees within the local party in Nova Scotia. And I've gained a lot of board experience on those various boards, such as the Nova Scotia Liberals. A big part of my platform is to return strong post-COVID. Obviously, this year it's been very rough, not being able to be on campus for a lot of students, and a lot of the services that SMUSA provides aren't available, such as the Gorge Brook and all of our regular events, although there has been an effort, thankfully, to make those virtually. A big part of what I'm campaigning on is to return stronger and how we can build back to where we were pre-COVID. I'd like to thank Yasmin Danielle for all their work as a CRO and DRO. I know this can be a challenging couple weeks with all the rules and navigating all the different issues that elections cause. So I'd like to thank that. I'd like to thank everybody here who's taken the time to stop in. Any questions that will be asked, and as well as the 5 other candidates for putting their name forward to help make a difference in the SMU community.
Thank you, Alex. Okay, next up is Joshua.
Hi, good night. I'm just making sure you guys can hear me. My Wi-Fi was a little choppy just now. Paula, I know you like to keep a tight schedule, so I'm going to keep mine as short and sweet as possible. I'd like to echo the words that Alex just said. Welcome to the board forum, everyone. Thanks for coming out. It's a fantastic turnout given the circumstances, and without further ado, my name is Joshua Lefond. I am a 3rd-year geography and economics student, and I'm from the beautiful island of Barbados, where it's currently not freezing. Don't not vote for me because of that. I have had the opportunity to represent students on the board of directors of SMUSA for the last 2 years, and it's been an amazing, amazing opportunity. I've got to work with policy, and you learn how intricate policy really is, and I have no doubt that my fellow candidates will come to love policy as much as me and Adam have. COVID has turned the world upside down, and it's exposed many cracks in the system. But SMUSO has stayed strong, and that is because we are the best student union, student association in the country, and that's because we have the best students in the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well ahead of time. Okay, next up, Mahika.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay, so I'm 3rd-year student studying bio and psych, and I'm from India. And I think it's an amazing opportunity that I'm here, and I feel lucky. And thanks everyone for coming out tonight. So one of my main things that I'll be focusing on if I get the opportunity is like, we all know that it's been tough for all the students with the online class and everything. And the main concern that I want to address in future is the mental health issues, because everybody is anxious in their homes, and it's been tough for everybody. I discuss every day with my friends, and I feel like when I came across SMUSA and I found out more about the board of directors, I think that it's a great opportunity that I can be voice for my friends and help them. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mahika. And the last person, Mia. Now, Mia, because I'm going to say your name so many times this evening, is it Mia or Maya?
It's Mia.
Okay, well, all over to you, Mia.
So I am also going to keep it short and sweet. My name is Mia Bastin. I'm a 3rd-year Bachelor of Commerce student majoring in accounting, and I am from the beautiful island of the Bahamas. Sorry, the beautiful country of the Bahamas. I am meticulous, hardworking, and organized. Those are 3 words I would use to describe myself. And I strive to keep a positive attitude throughout life, especially now, with the pandemic. One reason that I decided to run for this position is because I am interested in fostering and further developing skills that are critical to leadership while also serving the student body. And I would just like to thank everyone for coming.
Excellent. So welcome, everyone. That was a great start. Now I'm going to tell you the order that you'll be answering the questions in, and then I'll read the question. That gives you a second to kind of gather yourself. So the order for question 2 will be Alex, Mia, Adam, Joshua, and Mahika. And the question is, As a member of the Board of Directors, how would you address the impact COVID-19 pandemic has had on students? Okay, rather than come back to me each time, I hope you've written down your order. Unless someone goes over, I won't be speaking. I'll be staying on mute. So Alex, when you're done, Mia, you can answer, then Adam, then Joshua, and then Mahika. All right, Alex, over to you.
All right, thanks for the question. I think this is a very important issue that we face as a student union, as well as a province and a country. The biggest thing that I think we need to look at is how do we get our operations back up and running. We have a very strong operations team in place, a lot of very, very good vice presidents, as well as members that operate through various operations. I think the biggest thing will be planning for a return to campus. And none of us have a crystal ball and know exactly when that will be. Hopefully with vaccine rollout and decreasing case numbers, hopefully that will be in the fall, but that could also be next winter. So I think a big thing that we need to focus on is how do we return to campus safely for our students and for our student body, and how do we continue to grow as an organization, our entities such as the Gorge Brook, Husky Patrol, and all those sorts of different entities that make being part of SMU or being part of SMUSA great.
Yeah, so seeing that the pandemic has been a tough time for everyone, I feel in the best interest of the student body, the most helpful thing that I think I can do is listen to their concerns. And I mean, actively listen and actually take note of them and communicate these concerns to members of the board, just to make sure that the student body and all of their concerns are heard. And yeah.
Great. So it's pretty clear to all of us, we've been living in this world for just short of a full year now. There's lots of crazy things that we can do. Unfortunately, we don't have a whole lot of control on the university as a whole and, COVID guidelines set out by the province and things. Something I have been working on though, within my board position is creating a human resources policy. This was something I mentioned before, and taking on the role as the chair for the Human Resources and Governance Committee. Not having a human resources policy within the association was a big red flag for me, So having fair hiring practices and things like that, also having more hiring opportunities for students who have been struggling and out of work for so long now, that's going to be a big thing moving forward, and making sure that equal students have equal opportunities, no matter where you're from, your background, your study, anything like that. Being on the board, key positions would be the academic senate, having a voice for, the academic governing body of the university. So again, the pass no credit model. Unfortunately, as a normal board member, I don't have control of that. That would be onto the academic senate. The society committee, working with societies. And yeah, thank you. That's it for my time.
Okay, I would like to echo what all of the other candidates have so far said. I'm just going to add, as a board member, it's critical to review policies, amend them, and make sure they're up to date with the current world we live in. And if there's one thing COVID's done, it's exposed all the cracks in all the systems the world over. So it's to make sure we're keeping up to date with our policies as best as we can, and constantly reading and constantly reviewing. And I'll end it there.
So I think everybody said what I was gonna say, but I was gonna add that it's been tough for all of us, but I think it's comparatively tougher for international students, and we all are aware of that with the fees hike and everything, going back to home, the traveling restrictions and everything. So I want to work on that as a team with everyone. How can we improve that? How can we make it better for international students?
Thank you, everyone. So the order of the next question will be Joshua, Mahika, Alex, Mia, and then Adam. Do you want me to say that again, or does everybody have it? Joshua, Mahika, Alex, Mia, and Adam. And the question is, what motivates you to serve on the SMUSA board?
Thank you, Paula. That's an easy answer for me. The students. You guys motivate me to serve on the SMUSA board. I have, over the last few years, honed in on key abilities in creating, crafting, amending policy, as well as knowing the right questions to ask the president when he reports to us. I believe the students deserve the best, and it's my intention and my endeavor to work daily to provide the best for them. Thank you very much.
So what motivated me? Like growing up, I was always taught that like my dad is in politics himself. So like he always taught me that it is very important to give back or pay back to the society. And when I learned about SMUSA and the board of directors and how it functions, I found out that it is the best way that I can give back to my society. I can be the voice for my fellow classmates, and like I can represent them and they can look up to me, and I'm always there to listen to everybody's problems and just listen and make sure that their voices are heard. So that's what motivated me.
I think Josh put it very well. We're here for the students, and my plan to be that voice for the students. I've served on various boards, some more political than others, and I think that being able to make a difference in your community, and SMU being my community, is something that's very important to me. I think being able to be the voice for so many students to help represent them and help make their lives a little bit better and a little bit easier is ultimately the role of all elected officials, nonetheless, SMUSA in general. I think we've got some great stepping stones to build on. Obviously, we have a very strong board in place. You can thank Adam and Josh for that, as well as the other board members. And I think we have a lot of work to keep going and to grow and to better the student union for all students. And I think that's something that I'm excited to work on.
So what motivates me is the fact that I would like to give back to a community that I am a part of. I would like to be a voice or one of the voices for the student body. I have recognized the work that the board has done over the years, and I would like to commend them on that. And I feel I would want to facilitate in bridging the gap between the executives and the student body as best as I can. Thank you.
So people tend to think that just because we're board members, we might not understand the issue that students face. From myself, I've never been the strongest with academics. Learning more within the university and having voices to talk to has definitely helped, and it's giving back to those students. Really, after stepping into this role and knowing the impact I can have is amazing. When I circulated my nomination form, a lot of people asked why I didn't run for president, or if my nomination was for president, and it's not. I have no interest in having that role. Making policy, as Josh mentioned earlier, I think it's fun. I've thoroughly enjoyed my time making policies, knowing that a document I produce could be circulated and implemented for the association for the next 10, 20, 30 years, hopefully. Things change with time and as we need it. But making those policies and really making a difference on that level, that's really what matters to me and what I can make a big difference in, not only for now, not only for tomorrow, but but hopefully the next 5 to 10 years down the road.
Okay, so the order for the next question will be Mahika, Adam, Mia, Alex, then Joshua. I'll say that again, Mahika, Adam, Mia, Alex, and Joshua. And the question is, please give a specific example of a time when you helped create an environment where differences are valued, encouraged, and supported. What have you done to further your understanding of diversity and inclusion? Start with you, Mahika.
So I've been working as an RSO for a while, and in my experience, I have like met people from all around the world on residence, met students from different backgrounds, and I think that has helped me to understand different cultures and learn about their traditions, their food, and everything. And I think that a safe environment is something where just everybody can speak their mind freely. It's not about like, it doesn't matter if your thinking doesn't match with the other person from different background. It's just important to just keep your ear open and listen to them and just let different ideas merge in and just be respectful to everybody.
So for me, aside from the other board I sit on, I actually sit on an international twinning committee. So I sat on one prior, that term is done, but I was actually on a national youth committee on a twinning project with the Hemophilia Society of Bangladesh. So during that time, it was reducing things like stigma against blood transfusions and things like that, and just providing better healthcare to patients with bleeding disorders in Bangladesh. Since that has wrapped up in the summer of this year, thankfully not doing much due to COVID, the previous chair of that committee reached out to me and asked me to join an adult committee with the Hemophilia Association of the Philippines for Love and Service, HAPLOS, where we're doing the same thing, but for adults. You know, we have so many resources here in Canada. We're twinning to work back with them later on. So I've worked with individuals from every background. I know, although I'm not an international student, I didn't know how to use an elevator when I got to Halifax. I'm from the tropical island of Newfoundland, and we don't have tall buildings. So, you know, I totally get it that, you know, there's differences and there's culture shock, although it's not as extreme as some people. You know, I respect the different backgrounds and I respect different levels of knowledge and learning.
So over the years, especially at SMU, I have fostered friendships with people of different cultures and backgrounds, and I make it a point to learn more about their cultures and let them know that I respect them and I love learning. I'm a lifelong learner, and so I love learning about their cultures. As far as differences are like values and stuff. In my social group, I just encourage my friends to voice their opinions. I let them know that this is a safe space, free from judgment or any scrutiny. And now I try to keep up on diversity and inclusion by attending any seminars that I can and reading up articles online. Thank you.
For me, I grew up in Bridgewater, Nova Scotia, about an hour south of Halifax. For those who aren't familiar, rural Nova Scotia can be defined as many things, but diverse is not one of those things. So for me, when I started university here at St. Mary's, there was a big jump, meeting people from all different walks of life, cultures, backgrounds, that sort of thing. And then when I've joined the Nova Scotia Young Liberals Board, we have multiple different diversities on our board, meeting people of all different walks of life and helping to work towards a common goal. I think the diversity of St. Mary's is one of our biggest strengths. I think we can continue to grow more diverse as we continue growing our university and our student union. Another thing that I've been able to accomplish while working on in a board setting is being able to be a part of the policy creation on multiple different boards that I sit on. I've worked on boards that previously create the policy for the organ tissue donation in Nova Scotia, although I personally wasn't on the board when the policy was created. Helping push that through at the end was a big accomplishment for me to help all Nova Scotians be able to receive organ transplantation, I can't use my words today, organ transplants, and to make everybody who wants to be a donor a donor. I think that
Your
getting
time is up. I texted you 10 seconds, about 30 seconds ago. Okay, thank you, Alex.
Right, so that's two questions. I think to answer the first one, it's all about creating an environment where people feel comfortable, as Mahika mentioned, and safe, where they feel like they can voice their opinions. And I don't want to give a specific example because I seek to do that in my daily life. I want, when I talk to people, they feel comfortable to voice whatever opinions they have. And like Alex just said, diversity is a strength. Since COVID and coming back to Barbados, I have founded a local football club which seeks to bring people from all walks of life, all races, ethnicities, religions, genders, socioeconomic backgrounds together. And we've successfully done that. We've grown the club to around 40 people to share in a sport that we all love. And it's allowed for people to see whole new worlds. Just on this tiny little island, people have been able to see whole new worlds by us bringing people together. That's also one example of how I've fostered diversity.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, so now we're on to question 4. And the order for this one will be Mia, Joshua, Mahika, Adam, and Alex. And here's the question. What is your personal philosophy regarding governance and the role of the SMUSA Board of Directors?
Okay, so my personal philosophy regarding governance is pragmatism, mainly because I feel like having sufficient knowledge and understanding of a situation works best with the role of Board of Governors. Also, your personal values contribute to your decision making and judgment for the role. And from what I understand, the Board of Directors kind of has to use this information and use their values and judgments to act in the best interest of the institution as well as the student body. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Mia mentioned pretty much that fiduciary duty, which we have. We are trustees, right? We hold this company in trust for the students. Another key role that we have in terms of governance is to hold the president accountable. It's incumbent upon us to rein the president in should they be going all right. I'm not saying that's ever happened, but that's a key responsibility of ours, as well as keeping policies up to date, scrutinizing policies, amending, implementing, sometimes even abolishing policies. Thank you.
So my personal understanding for the governance and the board of directors is a group of members who work together for the best interest of students and somebody that students look up to, and they make decisions for the welfare of the students. Thank you.
So I made this analogy a few weeks ago on the K4S podcast when we did a quick little elections promotion. So people kind of wonder sometimes why they don't see the board of directors directly in the face of students. You know, especially when it comes to COVID, why don't we see the board doing this? Why don't we see the board doing that? The analogy I made was look at the board as an oil rig. An oil rig doesn't directly produce oil to the consumer. That's the gas station. You know, the executive team and the board of directors are not equal. You know, as an oil rig, we're producing oil, which in our terms is going to be policy. The executive team is the gas station that puts that in the hands of the students, which is the oil, gasoline, whatever, tons of products. So that is the key thing about the board. You know, we're not micromanaging the executive team. If something breaks in the Gorsebrook, that's not our job. You know, we have a policy in place, maybe that be no light bulb be out in the Gorsebrook longer than 10 days, something like that. Not exactly, but we just don't micromanage. You know, as a board, it's not on our personal agenda, but it's on the agenda of the students. You know, at the end of the day, it's the stakeholders that put us in our positions.
Not to piggyback off Adam here, but as Adam said, a big part of the board is by creating policy and holding and as Josh said, holding our president accountable. I do believe that there is always room where we can make ourselves more accessible. And a big part of that would be, as the union has done, posting our minutes online, live streaming meetings, that sort of thing. I do think one thing that we could include is maybe once a semester having a town hall type thing where people could come and give their ideas on policy. I think that's something that we could look at in the future in order to make more inclusion with students on the board. However, as I mentioned earlier, we do have a very strong team of vice presidents as well as other staff members that run our facilities. And I think that's something that we need to use to our advantage.
Thank you. Okay, you guys are moving right along. So the order for the next question is back to Adam, Alex, Joshua, Mahika, and Mia. Again, Adam, Alex, Joshua, Mahika, and Mia. And the next question is, how would you contribute to board culture? Please include your approach given the challenges posed by this virtual semester.
So a big thing on the board, it's been a constant thing that, you know, we kind of don't do anything for the summer, do a board retreat, get to know each other, kind of get the roll down, and then kind of hit the road running in September. You know, that needs to change. May 1st, if something happens, whoever gets elected in this election, that's who is reporting that day. You know, so hopefully, fingers crossed, nothing happens crazily in May, but it's up to us to deal with it. You know, we can't rely on, say, the past board or things like that. This past year, it's been absolutely crazy with COVID, obviously. May 1st rolls around, what do we do? You know, so we ended up doing monthly budgets, you know, so it's constant meeting. It was kind of new for the board, but I looked at that as an opportunity that we can do so much more. You know, jumping over to having my first year as the chair and then the second year as well, made it very clear from day one that, you know, we all have Zoom, we're all used to this. Let's get going on work. You know, that's what we need to do. We have so much time over the summer to do work. So we made policies, we translated all our policies into plain English. You know, we did so much and we can continue to do that. You know, it'll be great to meet in person again and we can do so much more in person, but we have Zoom to our disposal and we have so many other resources that we just weren't tapping into before that we can do now.
Our university runs 12 months of the year. There's classes for pretty well 12 months of the year. And I think as a union, we have an obligation to represent all students for all 12 months of the year. As Adam said, I think although most students, or a lot of students anyways, take the summer off for employment, that sort of thing, I think as a board, we need to be continuing to work for the students and to help create policy, do budgets, especially while navigating the pandemic. And I think that's the main thing, that we need to continue to keep working year round. I mean, this is a position within the union that's a very important position. I think every board member that's ever served understands that what we do will impact student life for years to come. And I think that isn't necessarily a 6-month job. I think that's a 12-month job. And I think we need to continue to work throughout the school year and the calendar year to keep growing our union.
Right. I don't think I need to answer this question anymore, because I think Alex and Adam have done an impeccable job at answering it. Have you guys figured out the theme of what we're all about? It's work. We are here to work. You are putting us in this position to get the job done. Now, I would want to get to know all of you, fellow candidates, should we all be elected. But at the end of the day, we cannot forget that the purpose of the board is to get the job done, scrutinize those policies, hold the president accountable. So at the end of the day, like Alex said, 10 years down the line, students are still benefiting from the decisions we've made. Thank you.
As everybody made it really clear that it's very important to get the job done, I would like to add that I think that ideal board culture would be a place where everybody can just put in their ideas and everybody listens and everybody respects everybody. Like, we can just put the ideas together and make a decision for the welfare of student society. That's it.
Yeah, so as Adam and Alex said, this school runs basically 12 months a year. And so I feel as though, yes, we should be working towards our main goals all 12 months. I would contribute by, voicing my opinion after careful consideration, after going out, well, obviously not physically going out, but reaching out to fellow students and just getting their opinions or on different causes and concerns, and making sure that their voices are heard. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, this is the last of the pre-scripted questions. So I would invite the audience now, if you would send your questions to either the CRO or DRO, they'll flip them to me to ask, or you can just put them in the chat in general, I guess, and I'll figure them out from there. When you do ask a question to someone else, it will be, you can direct it to one person, but everybody else will be given the chance to decline to answer or answer that question, just so we all know. All right, so the final question, the order of answer will be Alex, Mia, Adam, Joshua, and Mahika. Again, Alex, Mia, Adam, Joshua, and Mahika. And the question is, what experience have helped you prepare to serve as a member of SMUSA's Board of Directors?
Thank you. As I've mentioned a few times already, I've been heavily involved in provincial and federal politics with the various Liberal Party boards. Being able to sit on those boards and help create change, as well as develop policy and engagement with all people from all different walks of life, I think are all qualities that I have in my personal experience in working with boards and getting things done. I think although this isn't a political board and I don't want to limit myself to just things I've done in politics, I think those are all experiences that that will help me navigate the board and help create change for SMU, for students now and for many years to come. So thanks.
So I may not have an extensive list of leadership experience, but I have, and I am currently serving on board of SMU Caribbean Society. I have recently been certified by NASPA as a peer educator, and I am aware of the leadership skills that are required of this position. And I would also like to add that my peers view me as someone capable of holding such leadership position because of the qualities that I possess. For example, as I mentioned before, I'm organized, I'm meticulous, I'm an active listener, and I'm empathetic and motivated towards achieving my goals, academic and personal. Thank you.
So as a kid, well, being in a family with bleeding disorders, my mother was the president of the Newfoundland and Labrador chapter of the Canadian Hemophilia Society. It was always a big thing that I knew my mom was in boards. I didn't know what it meant until I became 18 and got elected. You know, I had a nomination for my name thrown out there and I ran with it. It was something that I wanted to do. It was something that I learned. You know, from there, I got interested in SMUSA. So, you know, ran for that position and I got that board position, you know, so that's my experience. Since then, like I mentioned, I had sat on 2 international health committees. I've done a lot of work. I've had a lot of invites for other boards and things that I've turned down. One can only take so much on their plate. But clearly the experience I've had, and especially being the chair, it's not all about experience. You know, it's about having that motivation and that drive to, again, get things done. You know, you don't have to have previous board experience. You don't have to have a crazy amount of leadership experience. You have to start somewhere. And this board is not discriminating if you have that or if you don't. You know, so if you have a drive and you have motivation and there's things that you want to do, go for it. You know, I would have liked to see more people. Obviously, it's a different year, but I'm glad to see who is here running. Congratulations.
Sorry, Paula, is it me now? I was listening to the answers and I got lost. All right. Right, so like Adam, I've had the privilege and the honor of representing the students on the board of directors of SMUSA for the better part of the last 2 years. And I've also gotten to represent the students on the university's board of governors for the better part of the last 2 years. So I've had plenty of experience working with policy, amending policy, and again, holding the president accountable, because that's a key role. But I would like to say, though, it's been a tumultuous last year. I think we can all agree on that. But yet, SMUSA has held strong through that. A lot of companies have got into a lot of perilous waters, for lack of a better word. But SMUSA has held strong, and I think that's largely due to the diligent hard work of our outgoing board members. I don't want to name them all, but you know who you are. And I just want to carry on that work. I just want to see SMUSA continuing, going from strength to strength, not just 5 years down the line, but 10 years, 20 years, 50 years into this future. I want to see SMUSA as strong as it is and can be. Thank you.
So I've been working as an RSO for a while now, and I'm also currently working for SMUSA. And last year, I was a volunteer for cancer patients in QE2 hospital. And I do organize events for Feed Nova Scotia with a group of people. And it's just like, I'm just passionate about helping people and serving the society. It's something that I do whenever I get free. I always look for volunteering opportunities. And I've honestly learned a lot from all the teams that I've been a part of. And the most important thing that I've learned is to communicate and express my ideas. And I believe that it has helped me to serve as a member of board of directors.
Okay, thank you. So we have the first couple of questions in. I'm going to give you the question. I'm going to give you the order in which will be answered first, which is Joshua, Mahika, Alex, Mia, Adam. Again, Joshua, Mahika, Alex, Mia, Adam. And now I'm going to give you the question. What are the committees of the board? So can you name them and how many of them are there? Starting with you, Joshua.
Oh, well, I can name them. I'm not, I wouldn't want to give away the answer to the rest of the candidates, but it's the HR and Governance Committee, the Society Committee, the Finance Committee, and the Elections Committee. Thank you.
I think given the nature of that question, we will dispense with asking everyone else because that's just the way it is. These orders, by the way, I have them all pre-done ahead of time. It's to make it fair. You may have noticed each person gets to go first. Once you get to go before and after a different person each time. And I don't mess with this order because it takes me a while to make this actually. So the next question is, hang on, my little screen disappeared there. This is the trouble with people putting one thing at a time. Give me a second. All right. I apologize for that.
So Paula, would you say it's still better than all your scrap paper behind a podium?
Well, you know, I have to make it up on the fly each time. And yeah, I have it in my head how it works, but it's easier this way, yes. And as I said, I don't have anyone grabbing the mic from me or being rude. I just, I have the power to turn you off. All right. So what two external organizations does SMUSA work closely with? And the order for that, we're on to the next order, is Mahika, Adam, Mia, Alex, and Joshua. Mahika, Adam, Mia, Alex, and Joshua. And the question again is, what are the two external organizations that SMUSA works with?
I'm not sure.
You can also just say pass.
Okay, I'll pass.
Okay.
So it would be CASA, which is the Canadian Alliance of Students Associations, and SNS, which is Students Nova Scotia. Do we need to continue the list?
I was going to say it's up to these. I'm not writing these questions.
if there's other things people think, sure.
Yeah. So next question, and the order for this question will be Mia, Joshua, Mahika, Adam, Alex. Okay, you got that? Mia, Joshua, Mahika, Adam, Alex. And the question is, what committees and or representative bodies are you interested in serving on if you're on the board of directors? So what roles of the board would you like to serve? And over to you guys.
Thank you for your question. And I would like to serve on Finance Committee as well as HR and Governance if given the opportunity. Do I have to say why? No, just okay.
You may certainly say why. By the way, your clock is stopped. When I talk, I stop the clock. You may say why, or you may just answer as you did. It's entirely up to you, whatever makes you feel comfortable. Okay?
Mia, did you want to continue or can I go ahead?
No, it's fine. You can go.
Okay, well, I've sat on the HR and Governance Committee for the last 2 years, and we've gotten a lot of stuff done. And I would hope to sit on that committee again, given the opportunity. Anything else is fully at the discretion of my colleagues, should I be fortunate enough to sit on the board of directors for another year. Thank you.
Is it me now? Okay. I think that the academic committee and the society representative is something that I'll be interested in.
Are you done? Great. Sorry, just didn't want to cut you off. Surprisingly, I would love to sit on the HR and Governance Committee again. As I've mentioned before, chairing it for the past 2 years, and Josh has just voiced, we've gotten an incredible amount of things done. I mean, leaps and bounds. look at the minutes. I mean, I make almost 5 motions per meeting. It's kind of crazy, but I have to reward that so much on the members themselves because I don't get a vote on that committee. I just bring things to them. I mean, I've brought so much to them and they decide, it's great. But also I would like to sit on the academic senate. I feel like that's been a part of my experience on the board that I can't really bring things into the academic side of the university, which is what I want to do, but mainly HR and governance.
Hey, thanks for the question. There, all the committees that SMUSA have are all very intriguing. However, for myself, I'd be interested in the elections committee. Having this be my second election running into, I think that's something that'd be very interesting to help govern. I also be interested in the societies committee, the HR governance committee, and sitting on Students Nova Scotia.
Excellent. So the order of the next question is Adam, Alex, Joshua, Mahika, and Mia. Adam, Alex, Joshua, Mahika, and Mia. And the question is, what ideas would you implement to improve organizational sustainability as a member of the board?
That's a good one. So organizational sustainability. Again, going back to the academic senate, I know there's been talk about it before, but we don't need paper syllabus. It's, there's just so much paper waste. I think that's a huge thing we can do. And as well with the HR and governance side, if we're making policies, we can make so much more policy on sustainability, whether that be virtual documents and things like that. You can't get too crazy. And again, you want to avoid the micromanaging. But paper waste is a huge one. There's also so much more that we can do with that, but I'll leave it for the rest of the group to comment.
I think moving into 2021 and into the future, I think there has to be an emphasis on sustainability. As Adam noted, our paper use is one thing that I think really needs to be looked at. Thankfully, this year there's no posters on campus, so we are cutting back a little bit on that. I think moving to the future, when we look into elections, I think more virtual tools could be used. I think something like increasing the points it requires to use posters, that type of thing, or something that we could look into. That's something I think we could look into over time and to help with our sustainability. I think another way that we could focus on sustainability is by investing into more green energy within SMUSA, getting an efficiency Nova Scotia to come in and do things and evaluate the Goresbrook, how we use our lighting and all of our other electricity systems. That way we can cut down on costs while also being more efficient within our operations.
Well, Alex went ahead and stole my answer, which puts me in a precarious position. But I think he touched on something when he said, increase or decrease the amount of posters we use during campaigning. I think that's a fantastic idea, and I think it's one that we can quickly implement. Obviously, this year we would not have seen our campaign footprint on campus. But I think paper usage is probably one of the bigger ways, reducing paper usage is probably one of the bigger ways we can be more sustainable as an organization. Thank you.
I think the main problem was the paper use that everybody mentioned. And the other one that Alex mentioned, like what bothers me the most is the electricity. Like whenever I pass by the library or student union building at night, I see that the TV is on and the lights are on, and it bothers me. Like there's nobody in the building and we're just wasting electricity. And I don't know, maybe we can come up with the ways that we can reduce this.
I guess to piggyback off of what everyone has said before, as far as paper usage, I mean, the pandemic has forced us to kind of make everything virtual. And so I definitely feel like, we've proven that we can limit the use of paper. And I feel like we should continue to do that and just try to make use of online platforms. Um, I kind of have the same views with the electricity as well. I find that there's a little bit of energy waste going on in certain buildings. They can definitely try to change most of the lighting to motion sensor lighting. I think that would be something important to implement. Thank you.
Okay, before I give the next question, I'm going to first of all tell you, okay, that we're now on Alex, Mia, Adam, Joshua, and Mahika. But before I give the next question, I want to make sure that everybody knows that the questions are open to everyone. If you just send your question to the CRO in the chat box, then she's sorting them for me to ask. So anyone can ask a question, just get it into the CRO or DRO. Thank you. Again, the order of operations here is Alex, Mia, Adam, Joshua, and Mahika. And the question is, how do you see yourself working with the president? And how do you see the separation of those two roles?
Thank you. That's a very good and important question that I think needs to be asked. As of right now, it appears that we are going to have a non-contested president with Frankie. And I think the biggest thing will be just working with him to help implement his goals, as well as a board keeping the best interest of the SMUSA in line with his goals. I've met Frankie a few times. I think he's a great candidate. I think he'll make an excellent president. So I think the biggest thing is just working with him, not against him, to help implement. I know we've had some very good presidents over the past few years. I see Bryn's in the on the call here watching. So I think the biggest thing is just working with them and helping them achieve their goals.
Yep. So as far as helping the president achieve their goals, I definitely agree with that. And I agree with Josh's statement of holding the president accountable. But I also want to say that you kind of have to act in the best interest of the institution and the student body. And I feel that I would work in making sure that the voice of the student body is heard by the president and taken into consideration when certain decisions are being made.
When it comes to a relationship with the president, it's not my duty to message the president directly. The only form of direct contact either should be on a personal level outside work, which would be board meetings, but at a board meeting, given Robert's rules and everything, allowing questions directly to the president about something. Other communications would be directly through the chair. If I had a question about whatever, there's a line of command for that. But as a board, we do have to hold the president accountable. We have to kind of play as the devil's advocate on things. Just again, making sure that it's the student's voice and it's not just their personal agenda. And outweighing the pros and cons of certain decisions that they make, whether that be the budget or similar.
And I just want to add to that, it's not just the student's voice, but it's the student's money. So it is incumbent upon us to scrutinize decisions made, not out of any form of malice, but in the best interest of the students and the organization at the end of the day. I do believe it's important to foster a good relationship with the president. The time and place to question the president is in meetings, right? As Adam mentioned, any other communication is done through the chair of the board. But it is incumbent upon us to hold the president accountable, scrutinize, and make sure that the interest of the organization and the students is front and center in any direction we go. Thank you.
So it is important to make the president accountable. And I think I would like to add that we as board of directors, like individually, we should not be afraid if we do not agree. Just because being like, if we get afraid of the power, we should not, we all should be able to keep our voices. If we think that something is not in the interest of students, we should be able to speak openly about it, and ensuring that the audit is conducted because it's really important. Thank you.
Okay, now we have a yes/no question, and the order of the answer will go Joshua, Mahika, Alex, Mia, and Adam. And the question is, have you watched any of the board meetings or read any of the policies or minutes, yes or no?
Yes.
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 Okay, so now we're going on to the next question. The order of operations is Mahika, Adam, Mia, Alex, and Joshua. What do you think can be done on campus to increase awareness around disability and accessibility related barriers?
Since the campus is closed mostly, I think what best could be done is creating awareness virtually, and like making, like putting on different ideas on the social platform so that students are aware of it.
Great. So on that, the AGM is a separate topic, but like Alex mentioned before, having town halls. So, we could easily make a policy stating that the association presents at least one town hall per semester. And then in that, we can make sure that, that issue is discussed, create awareness around it. Educate ourselves more on it. We do so much extra learning as a board, which you should do. We're thankful that we get extra governance practices and things like that from people like Paula herself. There's all kinds of learning opportunities so that we can further give back to our students. And, if we involve ourselves in something like that, we can relate better to those individuals and help them succeed in the future and meet their needs.
Yeah, just to piggyback off Adam there, as I've already said earlier, I think it's important that we host town halls. That way issues like this or any other issues that students may have can be asked. And I think that's a very important part of our engagement. When you look at our elections numbers, last year, I know this year they'll most definitely be down, but last year and the year before, our elections numbers are not high at all. We're not getting, people aren't voting, people aren't being as engaged with the SMUSA, with their president, with their board as they should be. And I think hosting these town halls for issues such as accessibility or something that we need to focus on. I think in terms of the specific accessibility issue, I think I think that's something that in a town hall, issues can be brought forward and discussed, and if deemed necessary, a accessibility impact study could be done on our facilities to help make them more accessible to everybody.
Personally, I find that people are not aware or even think about certain issues that others may experience in their day-to-day lives until they are put in that exact same situation. And so if we are able to go on campus, I feel like implementing activities that puts individuals as myself in the shoes of someone with a disability would be a good way to make them aware. And if it's online, I feel like we should um, implement certain challenges through social media. Thank you.
Yeah. So the town hall idea is an interesting one in terms of raising issues, and I obviously support that. But as far as enacting any events with students, all I can say is I will have to lend my support to the president in performing any on-campus events or what have you, as far as my position as a director would go. These are obviously very important issues. I'm just not sure to the extent that a director can intervene in them, but I would 100% support them.
Okay, thank you, everyone. This is going along just swimmingly. We should do it this way every year. All righty then. So we have another question. And the order of answer for this one will be Mia, Joshua, Mahika, Adam, Alex. Again, Mia, Joshua, Mahika, Adam, Alex. And the question is, what do you think the benefits are of having gender diversity amongst board members in terms of governance?
Thank you for that question. I don't want to confine it to gender diversity though. Like I understand that was the subject of the question, but I just find diversity in general, like with diversity, you have so many different perspectives put into consideration. And I feel like new ideas, new perspectives, it just allows for the best possible action to be taken or the best possible decision to be made. Thank you.
So I'm going to talk directly to gender diversity on the board because I've been an advocate, especially over the last year, for increased female representation on the board. I think it ought to be at least 50%. The board has 9 people, try get 50% of 9. But I do want to see SMUSA reach a point, and I'm ecstatic. I'm so happy that we are in a position where we have two females running for the board this year, and I want that to increase. I want to see SMUSA in a place where we have equal number of women running for the board, and this is a point I've brought up before. I want to see SMUSA in a place where we have more people that self-identify as females running for the board, because for the last how many years we've had more males running for the board. And I think diversity is so important, and having those various points of views, priceless. And I think the females that we have on the board add, you can't put a number on how much they add to the board because of their differing points of view. So that's a topic I've advocated on for the last year. And that's one, should I be reelected, that I will continue to advocate for, because it's really near and dear to my heart. Thank you.
I think that Joshua said it very well. So I would say, like in my experience, I was overwhelmed and worried that I'd be the only female running for board of directors. And I was really happy to see Maya. And I think it's really important that, like as Josh said, that more female participate and be the representative. And I just think that Maya running means that more women run in the future, like me and Maya, can just encourage more female students to do this. So, yeah.
think women in governance is a huge thing that should be seen more often. Again, it's going to come down to why I'm even involved in boards. Shout out to my mother, Colleen. If you ever watch this, you probably won't. The main reason why I got in boards, and when dealing with an inherited bleeding disorder, since a woman is a carrier, it's a little different. But the provincial board that I sit on is mostly made up of women, and it's almost the inverse, that seeing males on the board is becoming rare. So I've seen it from a different perspective, and I've seen the amount of impact women have made. It's a huge thing that we have a PEP program. It's Parents Empowering Parents, and it's all about women and mothers who have been through this, since they are the main caregivers for their children, and understand that more than males do. A board has 9 people, and it's great to have between 8 and 15 for a reason, because if you only have the same mindsets of like 3 or 4 people around a table, you're not going to get much done. You're not going to get many perspectives on things, and women offer that opportunity. It's unfortunate that we are not balanced more than what we are. It is great to see 2 women running this year, though, and I highly encourage it moving forward. It is great to see, and again, congratulations.
As I mentioned earlier, and I think I said it a few times tonight, diversity is our strength. I think the more diverse our board get, whether that be based on gender or nationality or any other form, I think diversity is a very, very important thing to help us grow stronger. I myself, my mother is in politics, has been her whole life, and learning the challenges that women face in politics is something that I've never imagined I would have to, or I've never imagined existed as a kid. You wouldn't think that it would happen, especially in our society here in Nova Scotia. You wouldn't think that these things happen, but they do. And I think creating more diversity on the board, making it more diverse, just makes the board stronger. And going forward, as I mentioned, I would like to serve in the elections committee. I think recruiting more strong female candidates is crucial to the success of the board. All
right, kids. So I'm going to ask each of you a double-barreled question. I'm going to tell you what the question is now, and then I will tell you the order so that it gives you time to think about it. So the double-barreled question is, the initial question is a yes/no. So I don't want any elaborations. Are you aware that you are making a 2-year commitment to sit on the board? And do we have your word that you will see that commitment out? So assuming that you're aware, are you making a commitment tonight to serve out your 2-year commitment? The second question is, as we wind up, one word. So just one word that describes you, that you want people to go away and remember that's you. So the first part is going to be yes, no. Yes, I'm making a commitment for 2 years, or no, I'm not. And then your one word. And then I'll be handing it back to the CRO because we've answered most of the questions, and I think an hour and a half is long enough on Zoom. So the order of this is Adam, Alex, Joshua, Mahika, and Mia. All right. Are you ready? You want me to talk? Okay, go for it.
Well, yes. Governance.
My mute button got stuck. Yes, and dedicated.
No, and judicious.
Yes, and passionate.
No, and determined.
Okay, first of all, I want to say thank you. You guys were awesome. This was really fun. And I'm going to hand it back to our CRO and DRO to wrap up the evening. And hopefully I'll see you all soon.
Thank you, Paula.
I'm going to hand
Hi,
it over
everyone.
to Jero to close.
Hi, everyone. So on behalf of the St. Mary's University Students Association, I would like to thank the members of staff, students, and candidates who came out this evening. So thank you.
Thank you, everyone, and good night. Any questions, you can just email us at elections.smusa@smu.ca, and we'll be happy to answer them for you. Thank you.